Doing research on land dynamics and agrarian change is complex, and all the more so when working in a region such as the Great Lakes region of Africa. The region is characterized by overpopulation, extreme competition over natural resources, and a history of violent conflict. Doing research in such an environment can be challenging. In this video, we illustrate an innovative methodology that can help overcome some constraints the researcher may face. Everything started with the development of a simulation game that we called LandRush. The game simulates the complex competition for natural resources in developing countries. It models real-life dynamics in the land arena and is based on years of research on the livelihoods of farmers in the Great Lakes region of Africa. The original aim of the game was to provide an innovative pedagogical tool for university students, particularly those learning about land dynamics and agrarian change in social and natural sciences. Since LandRush is a blueprint of real-world dynamics, we hoped to engage students in more active forms of learning. The game has proved to serve its aim well, not only for factual learning, but also to sharpen socio-emotional learning skills. Learners take up a role and actively engage in negotiations with the other players. They experience joy or frustration, compassion or irritation, and in this way they gain a better understanding of local actors' strategies in relation to land competition and agrarian change. However, we didn't stop there. In a second phase, we transformed this pedagogical tool into an instrument for action research. Let me explain how this works. For research participants, resource competition and agrarian change may be sensitive topics to discuss. So we determined that entering the field site through a simulation that relates to local level struggles could be an interesting starting point. But a board game is a typically Western pastime. So how to make it accessible to a public of non-Western farmers who may never have seen such a thing before? We felt that our simulation would be better received by our research participants through a theatre sketch based upon the game. So we set out to transform LandRush the game into LandRush the theatre. We've done this in 2 steps. First, we linked up with local NGOs working on micro-level community building and conflict resolution. With an academic team from the south as well as the north, we've designed a training for the field animators of our NGO partners. These animators serve as brokers between us, researchers, and our research participants. At the start of our training, we invite the animators to play the LandRush game. Then, we reflect on the key dynamics of the game. And after that, the animators engage in a discussion on the relevance of these key dynamics for the setting in which they work. Finally, they brainstorm on ways to translate the game's messages into a theatre sketch that speaks to the local population. In a second step, the animators perform their sketch in front of the community where the research is to be carried out. The sketch takes between 20 and 40 minutes. It blends the key dynamics of the LandRush game with real-life experiences and struggles on the ground from the perspective of local actors. During our tryouts, we noticed that members of the public, the local community, vividly identified with the actors and their challenges. However, at the same time, the sketch has to remain fictive. And it has to invite for discussion. It cannot take the form of a campaign in favor of a particular point of view. This is important because after the sketch, a researcher invites the public to reflect on the links between the sketch and people's real lives. And during those discussions, everyone has to have a chance to share his or her opinion. During our tryouts, our public engaged in a very vivid exchange on local level challenges in agrarian and land dynamics. But it was even more interesting to see how these discussions spontaneously transformed into a joint reflection on how to respond to those challenges, on how to come to sustainable solutions. In fact, the LandRush Theatre can serve 2 purposes. First of all, it is an interesting research tool. particularly in the early stages of research. It allows researchers to gain an understanding of local land dynamics and agrarian change. It may bring out issues on which to focus in further steps of the research. But the approach can also be useful to the communities involved and to the NGOs working with those communities. It may provide them with a tool for exchange and discussion on potential solutions to resource conflicts. By placing the controversy out of the real context into a fictional one, participants are able to discuss real-life conflict with the eye of an outsider. This helps frank discussion and problem-solving, and everyone seems to have a great deal of fun too. So by transforming the LandRush game into a LandRush theatre, our pedagogical tool has evolved towards an innovative tool for participatory action research.